I just wanted to know where the need or the sense of the need for the foundation came from. Like, where was the need? Like, we need to do more for the community. Where did that come from?
Well, my father had this vision about 12, 12 years ago, because we all grew up in the same area. So he never left the community that he was born and raised in. So being that he's from the Watts area, the South Central area, we always saw that there was a need for more to happen, because we don't have that many resources, whether it be healthcare or it be financial, whereas with jobs, even things for the kids to do in the summer. So when we don't have those different things, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of crime that takes place, and it is a poverty restricted area. So when him and a few other of his friends that are also from the same neighborhood who was fortunate enough to go to school, to educate themselves, and to really become something, they felt like, we need to do more than just the basketball piece. We want to actually be more involved in the community, instead of just being from here, saying that we represent this area, playing hoops, and then we leave. Like, they wanted to come back and figure out a way to embrace the neighborhood. So when we came up with the foundation, it was about 8 people who all went to the same middle school, and they said, let's create something that's going to be positive, and let's just focus in on the kids that's in this neighborhood. So every year we try to have like turkey giveaways. We try to do something like a backpack giveaway, some type of community day where we're bringing everybody together. We do scholarships and stuff like that in the summer, and we try to raise money while the games are going on. Like if you sit in the courtside seat, you have to donate something. Drop something in the bucket. Like everything we do, we're trying to bring it to life to make sure that the kids have some type of hope while we're still there. Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's awesome. Yeah. So it's a way, you can still get in for free, but then you also have those options to donate and, show your appreciation for the event. So
Right.
Yeah. Do you guys do other things with the foundation outside of the summer, or is it just, school's out, the kids are out for the summer, this is the perfect time to really do the foundation initiatives?
Well, the whole point for the foundation is to really help the kids for the remaining of the summer. So when the summer goes on, that's when most of most of our revenue actually comes from there. So that way, because as the consumers are coming in, that's like the only year we really see them. So that's their give back. So they are always donating. Mainly in the summers when we get the bulk of our foundation earnings, and then we use that to do things for the winter. Like we take kids on different trips. We'll go. We'll do some things around the holidays mainly. So whether it's Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we're always doing something for the holidays. So that carries us on until the next summer.
Okay. So speaking of revenues, Nike is one of you guys' biggest sponsors. Can you talk about what's one of the biggest benefits that sponsors receive when, partnering with the Drew League?
Well, the main thing is that they get the exposure. So depending on what sponsor that wants to be involved, there's different ways they could be creative. We let them be creative on their own surface. We don't really hold them too much into the where it's like, hey, box you in, you can only do this or you can only do that. It's like, look, if you guys are willing to help us out, it's a give and take. So we just let them be creative, but as far as what they want to do, but normally it's the exposure on social media, on the jerseys, on the court, visually on our YouTube platforms and stuff like that. And then sometimes the sponsors, they can give away different products if they want. Like we had Beyond Meat last year, so they were able to provide meals and things like that for the players. The fans can buy some of the product and do taste testing, because in our area we don't really have Beyond Meat being sold. So it gives people a different perspective of eating healthy. So we wanted to embrace that as far as having better, healthier options than what it is that we're accustomed to. So we thought Beyond Meat was a good partner to include for the poverty restricted area that we are, to give them a little, taste of what it is. Like, okay, you don't have to have meat. Here's some other options if you want to do something healthier. So that's one of the aspects that we wanted to bring to the table last year as a healthy eating option.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, because a lot of times when you go to the games, any games, you're like, should I eat before? Because I know they only gonna have chips and unhealthy stuff. You gotta wreck your diet when you go out to a game.
Yeah, you do, because you're there all day too. So you're going to possibly eat twice if you're there all day.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned before that this summer will be you guys' 47th year, which means, y'all have a big 50-year anniversary coming up. Do you guys have anything like special that you guys, have in the works or planning? I know it's 3 years out, but, if there's going to be something huge, like...
We want to do a big party. We want to do a big party. And we want to include people from the beginning that's still around, from the Drew till now, and just include, just do a big party. We want to do something for, if it's not for all week, but maybe a couple weeks leading into the season. So we want to do a big party, a ball or something like that involves faculty members, that involves those from the beginning, from the 70s that are still around, ball players from back then, and their families, and just make it a big thing. And then we want to do maybe a festival. We've done something similar to that before, where we included other vendors that got involved, and we had jumpers for the kids, face painting. We gave out some free some free items and some keepsakes and stuff like that with Drew, and I think we want to do just something that's just going to be so fun for the community, as well for those that we respect that came and gone from the past. So it'll be an honorable situation where we might do something on the court in the middle of halftime or something like that, and bring some people from the past and honor them and do a keepsake memorabilia. So we have a few ideas that we have. We just have to narrow it down to see what's best.
That'll be awesome though. Because it'll be a chance to, dress up. Because, when you come to the games, you relax, you're in your chill clothes, but you still want to, do something when you dress up and come out. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. I think everybody would have a good time and be willing to come out for something like that, because there's so many, even if you didn't play in the league, you just being a fan, and if you represent it as much as you do, then you will want to come in with your family and get dressed up. Everybody likes to get dressed up every now and then too. So if they knew it was an event, something as big as the 50th anniversary, I feel like it will have a huge turnout. Yeah,
definitely. So you guys, I've been on you guys' website, and the merchandise, I really like. First of all, the website, I'm not even just saying this is to, the website is amazing. I really love you guys' website. It tells the whole story of the league, the images, everything. Is I don't know the specific creative term, but everything is uniform. Everything seems like it's by the same designer. Everything seems like it's been one vision in mind. You know what I mean? I feel like the interface, the colors, everything goes together. Even the photography from the actual games, which is really hard.
Okay.
You might have a different photographer shooting Friday, you might have a different photographer shooting Saturday, but everything, everything seems like it was uniform, one vision, and that's awesome. Websites, they tough. But
yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. I want to talk about the merchandise. When did you guys start selling merch, and when did you guys think it would be a good idea, it would be profitable to sell merch?
We started selling merch 4 years ago, I would say 3-4 years ago. So my brother and my cousin, they're the visionaries with the merchandise. So, they're in their late 20s, and they're pretty much identical when it comes down to to just the whole fashion as what's going on today and what people like and what people enjoy to wear. So they're hipped on all that type of stuff. So they're the ones that run our merch. So in the beginning, it became one of those ideas like, okay, people are asking for stuff, because back in the day, my dad will always make shirts, but he'll give them away. So he'll make them. But see, back then things were a lot cheaper. So he will always just give them away. And then I was like, you know what? We need to stop giving things away, and we need to really profit off of this, because we're losing money by just giving away stuff. And I know we want to put it out there, but now we have to be, we gotta just do for ourselves now and just really take it back and say, look, if we're going to do this, let's figure out a business plan of how we can be successful. So in the beginning, it was just like, let's just try and see if people are interested. Let's just make some shirts, make some hats, and make a hoodie. Let's walk around the gym with it. And then as people started asking about it, and then we was like, okay, let's start making them. Then when we put them online, we got a lot of people who were interested, and we started seeing like the zip codes and where people were getting them from. We was like, okay, this is people that we got a lot of fans from other areas outside of LA. And so my brother and my cousin were the main ones that were doing it, but it got a little overwhelming just because we operate like a mom and pops. Like, we literally be in the house, in the living room, packaging things. But after a while, we was like, you know what, we might need some help with this. So we started asking for help, and some of our friends started helping out. So this year, we're actually changing the way our shop looks. It's going to look different. Hold on one second. Let me. Okay. Yeah, it's going to look different, because we just want to keep up with what's popular today. So we have to change how we do things, how we operate, and use different resources to make sure our stuff looks professional. So yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, I really like the merchandise. Really, it looks like something you would see already, like on the web, which is good. You know what I mean? So it looks consistent, and then you guys have the Nike sponsorship as well, so you can have that on there, and it already looks like something you buy from Foot Locker. You know, merch look homemade, like it's a fine line, like. But I'm looking at the stuff, I'm like, I need to get me one of these shirts. Like, I got.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't put anything out there unless we knew we will wear it. We don't want to do anybody wrong and put some cheap material out there that might rip and might fade, and then we're charging people a certain price. It's like, nah, we don't want those kind of bad reviews. So let's be, consistent on the type of material we use, the colors we use, like all that plays a part. That's very important when we are selling merchandise. So yeah, but I appreciate the compliment.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so my next question. So in 2012, you guys moved to the new high school, King Drew High School, and your teams expanded to 28. The previous year, 2011, was the lockout year where you guys had like a lot of big names come out because, a lot of people were thirsty for basketball. How much of that 2011 summer really pushed you guys to be able to expand that much in 2012?
Well, 2011, when that lockout year came, like that really, I want to say, put us on a map nationwide. Like, people knew about the Drew, but didn't really know about it, as if that makes sense. Like, you probably heard that there was a summer league in Los Angeles, but you really didn't know all the details of what took place, because back then, social media, I think we were just hitting with Twitter at that time. So there was no Instagram. Facebook was there, but it wasn't doing what it is now. So everybody that was involved in 2011 was really our homegrown guys that are from that area. But when we had the lockout, it was like more NBA players want to play, overseas players want to play, and then they have NBA homeboys, so they just started bringing them to the games. And then as we started tweeting about it and people started taking pictures and putting it out there, other NBA players wanted to participate because they had nowhere else to go either. So when that happened, that was our biggest year, and we noticed that we couldn't really sustain the crowd with the capacity that the park at Washington Park held. It was we can only really fit. It was only like 500 something people, but we was packing like 700 in there. You know, we were packed. So the Parks and Rec, where my dad actually works to this day, that's where he works at. So they were like, you know what, this is getting too much out of hand. This is too big. You know, you guys may want to look for another facility. And we was like, you know what, we need to do that as well. So we end up going to my alma mater, King Drew. Okay. And so it was a little bit bigger, more seating. And honestly, I was a little intimidated by just the space because we're not used to that much space. Yeah. So we thought that was going to be too big. And then now we noticed King Drew is actually too small where we are now. So we making that transition was just some prayers. We prayed and that this would be the best situation for us. And it ended up being the best situation ever going to King Drew because they treated us like family. So I gonna miss being at King Drew now that we move forward.
Mm-hmm. So what's some of the benefits of you guys' new location?
It's a bigger court. It's more locker rooms, and the parking is better.
That's a big one.
Yeah, the parking.
That's a big one, the parking. Okay.
So everybody appreciate the parking.
Definitely. You sometimes appreciate the parking more than, you know, the actual location, because if there's nowhere to park, it could ruin your whole experience going anywhere.
Right. So where we at now, the parking is better. It would be an easier in and out process. And I just like the space. I mean, inside is not going to be as big as people may imagine. Like, oh, okay, they're going to a bigger facility. It's maybe a pinch bigger than King Drew as far as seating, but it's a little bit more spacious to where we can add more seats if we needed to.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk about keeping integrity in any business is huge, but especially in the sports business. So you guys were talking before, like NBA player might be in town one weekend and it might be championship weekend or playoff weekend. And hey, like I want to suit up, and you know they have clout, and you know people want to see them, but you also still have to keep the integrity of the game. Can you talk about like the challenges that you guys face, you know, when that situation?
Yeah. I mean, just about every year. We have to face that challenge where there are NBA players that pop up towards the end of the season and they want to play. And I guess in their mind, because they're NBA player, they feel like they could just get on the court because everybody's here to see me. And that's not the case. We as far as our league goes, we have to keep our integrity intact, just because if we don't and we let this one player participate, but last year we told them that they couldn't, then all that does is just it's a trickle down effect that's going to look bad on the league. And as a commissioner, I don't want to put anybody in that kind of position. And now I'm trying to explain to this coach why this player couldn't play with you last year, but now a year later they can, just because it's a bigger name NBA player. It's not fair. So we've had this situation happen several times. The most recent one was what was this? Paul George. That was the most recent one. About 3 years ago, he came during the second round of playoffs, and he popped up. And James Harden was playing as well in the playoffs, but he already did his one regular season game, so he knew the rules. But Paul George came in with his shoes like he's about to play, and we're like, this is not a pickup run. Like, this is a professional league that we take pride in. You can't just come and think you're just going to hop on the court in the middle of playoffs when these guys worked hard to get in this position, and then if you come and disrupt it, everybody's going to be looking at the league like, how dare you guys even, or the coaches. The fans don't care. They want to see a game. They want to see Paul George, but it's the coaches who pay their money, who sacrifice time and effort to get where they're at, and now you allow an NBA player to walk in to steal the show. It's not fair. So, and I feel like the players, the coaches, even the NBA players, the fans, they respect the decisions when we make those decisions. They understand it, and therefore they're okay with it at the end of the day. They're like, okay, well, that's fair, and you did it right. But I would love to see, such and such play still, but it is what it is. So.
Yeah, for sure. And you also want to, it's not about the NBA player or the star-studdedness. At the end of the day, it's about basketball and, giving the lesser-known guys a chance. So you always want to make sure that not just the fans, but, the players still know, okay, this is not about who's popping up. It's about getting me exposure and developing me as a basketball player and getting me able to make it to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is even. When you step on that court, regardless of where you came from or your status, career, your basketball status, you are equal when you get in between those lines. So you got your ball player just like he's a ball player. It don't matter if you're in college and he's an NBA. It don't matter. Like, I'm going to treat everybody with the same, what everybody has the same rules. What applies to him applies to everybody else, regardless. So the whole point is to provide this platform so people can get exposure. And a lot of the guys have gotten exposure where they've gotten contracts from playing. There's been coaches and scouts been sitting in the gym, GMs, and they've given some. I've seen people gotten scholarships, contracts, all of that after a game before by coming up there. So it's a platform to use it for to betterment of your own, career. So however you want to take it.
Okay, so lastly, what do you want to be known for as a commissioner? Your dad is known for a lot of things, the league is known for a lot of things, but what do you want your legacy to be at the end of your tenure?
I want it to be, that's a great question. I want people to remember that when Chanel was the commissioner, that she took it to a different level. She took it outside of just Los Angeles County. Like, she took it to be in a national, global entity, expanded the league with not just with the men, but the women and the children. And making it where it's year round instead of just in the summer. So just kicking it up a few notches that exposes the league brand in a totally different way. That's
awesome. It would be, awesome to see, like you mentioned, the women. So I see a lot of times, like, it'll be an exhibition game, the women's, like a, WNBA player from Atlanta might be able to play, but you don't see it like on the everyday. So that would be good to see too.
Oh yeah, I think that's coming soon. We have a women's league, but nobody really knows about it. I don't run the women's league, but Tanisha Ware, the Ware family, they run the league. But we just oversee it. I just oversee it, and we just we work as a team to make sure that they got everything they needed, and that they're in the best position to run the women's league. So yeah, we want to put them on a different level for next year. Okay. Hopefully.
Well, that's awesome. You seem like you got your business mind on lock. I can tell. I know. That's what we're just talking about. Because my dad, it has his own business, so I know everything from packing orders after school. Like, I don't want to pack any orders, so I just know, like, can't be doing everything for free. I can just tell by your mindset. You got it, girl. So
appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Definitely must be the Drew League. Pop, go off. Because I'm from the East Coast, and I've definitely heard of the Drew League. Obviously, haven't been out there. Haven't even been out to the West Coast enough. As you can tell, I didn't even know about the time difference. I'm definitely excited to, be able to come out there. Hopefully this summer. If not this summer, then next summer. But
for sure.